Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode here in NHL 23. And yes, it's been a little bit since I recorded an episode of this. I had a power outage for like the last 2 days, so you guys are probably seeing this on Saturday instead of Friday. So yeah, basically I had a power outage because of an ice storm, so I was not able to record this episode for the Friday like you usually see it, but at least this episode should be still going up on Saturday. If not, it might be the Tuesday episode, who knows. I do also still have to record MLB, but MLB might be a little bit late on today's date if this is a Saturday. But if you didn't catch last episode, we basically had free agency and started up the season simulation. We didn't really do anything free agent-wise too much, I think, if I remember right. We basically keep our team as is, and so far so good. The team is 26-12-2, and we're looking pretty solid in terms of our offense and all that type of thing. If I remember right, as you can see, Reefer's leading a team in points. It's a little bit of a slow start for Vance in terms of goal scoring, but he's over point per game, so I'm not really going to complain too much. He's kind of becoming more of a hybrid player in a sense, but I really hope that he could hit 50 goals this season, because I remember last season at least, he had a very insane second half of the season, so who knows, he could still hit 50 goals this year. And yeah, basically in general, team has been pretty good. The only problems I really have is that we don't really have a good, we have a good team, but we have almost too much good players in a sense, so some guys aren't getting as much ice time because we were alternating between Ovechkin and Kavanaugh for the first 40 games, and I think I'm going to continue doing that for the next half of the season as well, just because I don't want to have a morale crisis. However, I think Kavanaugh's a pending RFA, and if he is, we will probably trade away his rights this offseason, because Ovechkin, I think, is the long-term guy on this defensive core, and I think we'll probably end up letting go of Makar this offseason as well to get in Spiller, who's in the AHL and technically NHL ready. So I think basically Makar and Kavanaugh will be leaving this team in the offseason, and we'll keep pretty much the rest of the defensive core as is, and Brunstrom will be that number one defenseman for us. Yeah, very much hoping that this team can continue on the path they are right now. So far, everything seems to be good. Pitten's save percentage isn't the best, but in general, I think our team has been doing pretty well, and yeah, just very much hoping that we could have a very solid second half of the season. But anyways, before we simulate that second half of the season, I do have one comment to go over. Well, one with a little bit of replies from Pens Gaming at 7. He says, definitely was the right decision to keep both Makar and Laugh, but yeah, then most likely we'll be leaving in the offseason. Don't worry too much about the growth and focus on going all the way to the Cup this year. Team's going to drop off next year without a 90-plus overall KL, so this is the last chance with a guy like that. Next year, the young guys should get given the chance, which is true, so we shouldn't worry too much about the growth in a sense, and we should basically, Lafreniere's definitely gone also after the season, because I don't really like playing Bales and guys like Patterson as fourth liners, so I think, Lafreniere's probably also in his last year here. I gave them one-year deals as well, just to kind of give us one last chance at winning a Stanley Cup with this type of roster, but more than likely those guys will be gone. There is a good chance Pakashlotti could be an NHL lineup guy next season as well. Like, maybe he's into our top 6, because he has been a very solid depth forward for us. So maybe he'll be in the lineup as early as next season as well as a full-time NHLer. Also, when I was talking with Pens, I was asking him if we should move on from Kavanaugh yet or wait till the draft, and he said draft for sure, keep that depth for the playoff run, which I totally agree with, because obviously we do need as much depth on defense as possible. Kavanaugh has dropped down to a 79 now since I last recorded, which is weird. Last morale because of ice time, so we might have to try and get him a little bit more ice time when he gets back into the lineup, but those guys are losing a little bit of morale, looks like, yeah. They weren't doing that when I last recorded, though, which is weird. So between the save files, I guess it just randomly decided that they were losing morale, which is a bit iffy, but we got to make it work. So we'll probably alternate them every 10 games again, just to keep the boys happy at least, and the trade value not dropping off. If Kavanaugh is a pending RFA, that would be great to trade him at the draft instead. Let me see. Kavanaugh, is he pending RFA? Yes, he is. Perfect. Okay. Because I think he only has one more year of RFA rights. Yes, he does. So it would be perfect to trade him away at the draft, give him a chance with another team. Kind of like what we did with like Datsuk and whatnot. And then Ovechkin, yeah, he still has a lot of RFA leeway, which is good. And I want him to be on this defensive core longer term just because he's got all those X factors. So yeah, Kavanaugh is definitely going to get dealt at the draft. But anyways, that is that. Let's go another 10 games and then change defenders. So who do I want to start off for the next 10 games? I don't remember who was last in. It was probably Ovechkin based on this. So let's put Ovechkin into, no, not into the top 4. Unless I want to move Len Morris down. I don't think Len Morris is on the power play though, right, or anything. Because I want to make sure the ice times are good. Yeah, he's not. So I feel like I should probably just keep alternating him on the top 6. Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet. So Ovechkin's going to play the next 10 games. And then I'll probably put Kavanaugh in the next 10 games and kind of alternate again between the two of them for the rest of the season. And more likely Ovechkin will play mostly in the playoffs unless he plays like crap. So yeah, let's go 10 games. See how we do, but more than likely this team will be a playoff team. It's unfortunate that we have to keep scratching at least one of the two of those guys for now, but at least once we get to the draft and move one away, we will have at least a open roster in a sense, and once Makar is left, we'll have another open roster spot. So that's 6 games right there. That's 9 games, so I guess the last game is Montreal, which means whoever else is going to come back against Minnesota. So let's see what we could do in these next 10 games. There's a loss, a shootout win, okay. There's another loss, not great, but oh well. Colorado wants a low top 6 prospect in a third for a third and a fifth. I'm going to reject this, but I wouldn't mind doing something like that, but maybe that low top 6 pans out, so. Low top 6 and low top 6D for a low elite. Probably not a guy that's growing that well, my guess. He's only got 1 year left as well. Probably a pending UFA, my guess. I don't know how old this guy is. Let me take a look at this trade offer. So we'd be giving up this prospect, 65 overall at 20. Probably not going to pan out. Latendresse, who's 61 at 19, doesn't have really high potential either. We get a medium top 6 defender who's actually listed as a depth defender, not that I really need one, in Bobby Brind'Amour, 26 years old. And in Raleigh is a 78 low elite that's 25 years old. That is actually kind of interesting, but I have no room on my roster to slot these guys in. Raleigh would be solid depth for our team. Brind'Amour would be solid depth for our defensive core, but then I would probably have to move out Kavanaugh now, and then Brind'Amour would be our depth guy instead. And we would have to rely on the morale crisis. I don't know. I think these guys are both pending UFAs as well because of their age. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do this trade, but that's actually a really interesting one. I don't know how good this Raleigh guy is. He hasn't really played that long in the NHL. He had a 23-point season this year, is it so far? I think it's this year so far. Is it 20-32, 33 right now? No, it's not. He has not played at all this year, so he's been a healthy scratch the entire year. I'm not going to do this trade. This is a very interesting one, though. That would probably be something I would do. But then I would have to probably find a trade for Kavanaugh ASAP so that we could use Brind'Amour as the depth option instead. I don't really want to shop Kavanaugh just yet, I think. I want to wait till he has just no years left in a sense, I think. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do this trade. It's a good offer, though. I respect the Canucks for throwing me something that I wouldn't mind doing. Medium elite prospect, our goalie one, and the low top 6 for a guy that's top 6 forward-wise. Nah, thank you. I don't need it. We're doing really good enough already, so I don't feel like there's a need to make a trade because Pens was saying not to make a trade, and then people in the Discord, I think last time I was talking with you guys were saying about potentially not making any trades either. But then again, I haven't been like online like the last few days, which has been really weird, so this feels really weird recording again, even though it was only a couple days off. But we're now 31-17-2. And, yep, Asher Vance has really phenomenal second halves of seasons for some reason. We only won another 10 games. And I think he went from 41 points in 40 games to the next 18 points in the next 10 games. Forget me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right with that. 18 points in the next 10 games. Asher Vance just has really strong second halves of the season for no reason. We're going to take Ovechkin out. We'll put Kavanaugh in for the next 10 games. But technically, I could use just Kavanaugh as the depth option the entire time for the rest of the season. Just because I care more about Ovechkin. But I want to kind of alternate between the two of them so they kind of stay both as happy as possible. So we'll see what it's like the next 10 games. So 3, 7, 8, 9. And the 10th one is against Columbus. And then we're almost approaching the trade deadline. But we're probably not going to make any deals more than likely. Ooh, okay, that's not a great injury. So Cale Makar has sprained his ankle. Let's just go replace player, but that's a pretty big injury. At least it's only till like the end of this month. But not good that Kale's getting injured because obviously he's our offensive guy. So, but he is already back within a few days, which is good news because we need him from the back end for now, and then eventually he'll probably get replaced. Like I said, he'll probably get replaced by Spiller, who's in the AHL right now, because Spiller's way too good to be an AHLer. So, excited to see what Spiller does next year. Okay, we're almost at that end of that sim. Let's see what we got here. Nice. 3 more wins with 6+ goals. Yeah, I feel like Asher Vance always has really good second halves. What are we at now? Yep, Asher Vance is now at 40 goals. He was literally just at, how much was it? 22 goals in 40 games. So over the next 20 games, this guy scored 18 goals. Like, what's with his second halves of the season? He just all of a sudden takes a bunch of steroids and scores a bunch of goals. I don't even know. That's crazy. That is crazy. But yeah, Asher Vance is getting back to that 50-goal plateau. It looks like maybe even a 60-goal plateau, because he has 22 games left this season to hit another 20 goals. It's possible for him. It definitely is. Let's go another 10 games. I don't care about the trade deadline because we ain't making trades. This team is pretty much built as is. 7-10. So he'll be back for the Jets. One is Ovechkin or Kavanaugh. I don't remember which one it is that I just put in the lineup. I'll just go by, or we're going to continue simulating passes. But it's crazy the second half of the season Vance has had, because I'm pretty sure last year he had like 30-something goals in like the last 42 games of the season. So I don't know what this guy does differently in the second half, but like I said, maybe he just takes a bunch of steroids and all of a sudden just completely destroys the league. As Bales has been injured with a mild concussion. At least I'll get Pakish-Slotty into the lineup, so that's not terrible. Because Pakish-Slotty is a decent depth guy. We're almost at 50 wins on the season already, so we're killing it this year. Let's see what Vance is at now. 46 goals in 70 games. So he's probably not going to hit 60. I mean, he could hit 14 goals in the last 10 games, hypothetically, but I don't think so. He's definitely going to have a 50-goal season unless he gets injured, but he has not been injured yet, I don't think, in his career. Watch now that I say that he's going to get injured. We'll put Kavanaugh in now because Kavanaugh's losing a bit of morale. Let's put him up where Len Morris was, just to maybe get him a little bit more happy, because I don't want him to be all of a sudden being a bad egg in the bunch. Let's go to next 10 games and see what Kavanaugh could do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that would be up to here. And then the last 2 games will be for Ovechkin, and then he'll be back for the playoffs as their full-time defenseman. But I'm very excited to see what Vance ends the season off with. And Bales is back, that's good news. So Pakish-Slotty, you're back out. And Bales, you're back in. It's good to have like a full and healthy roster. Let me stop the simulation for a second. Let me go back to here again, just because I wanted to make sure that it was actually showing the games that we were supposed to sim through. I feel like we're going to be a first-round exit after the season, though, because we're on a crazy win streak right now. 57, 21, and 2. We have 2 games left. We're not going to hit 60 wins, but we could hit 59. Vance has hit 54 goals. If he gets 2 hat-tricks in the last 2 games of the season, he could still hit 60, but he's not hitting 60 likely this season, unfortunately. But at least he has another 50-goal season in his bag. This guy is unreal. I love Asher Vance. I love this man. Oh, wow. Kavanaugh dropped to a 77. Can you stop complaining, man? You're plus 10 in 40 games, though. You've been pretty solid. But Ovechkin's also losing morale because he's listed as a top 4 defenseman. Yeah, I kind of wish I didn't sign Mikhail Makar, but he's important to this team right now, so... But at least one of those defenders, their morale should go back up in the offseason. So let's get these last 2 games of the season done. See if Asher Vance can get 6 more points to get 100 points on the season. Or if he could hit 60 goals. 4-3 shootout loss. Okay. So he might have scored in that game. But let's go to the last game of the season on home ice. We win 4-2. So we finished 58, 21, and 3. That might be our best season yet. We end up winning the President's Trophy, which is very scary. I feel like we're definitely going to be a first-round exit now. But you never know. We could end up winning the Stanley Cup and the President's Trophy in the same year. That does happen, but very unlikely that it will. But Asher Vance finishes with 56 goals and 96 points. What a good second half of the season for him, considering he was at 41 points in 40 games. If my math is right, that means in the next 41 games, let me actually look at some paper. Yeah, the next second half of the season instead, he had like, I think 55 points in those 41 games. So yeah, very solid second half for him, because he was second on the team in points. behind Reefers. And actually make sure the AI teams are done. God damn, I can barely talk since I haven't recorded in a few days. I feel a little bit scrambled, to be honest, because I haven't recorded in so long. I'm used to recording like almost every single day. So yeah, we won the President's Trophy by 9 points. Yeah, we're going to be a first round exit. Montreal, Vancouver, and the Jets all behind us. And Edmonton, damn, a lot of the Canadian teams doing really well. What other Canadian teams were up there? Did all the Canadian teams make the playoffs? Toronto made the playoffs. Looks like Ottawa missed. Yeah, all the other Canadian teams missed. So Calgary and Ottawa were the only two Canadian teams that missed the playoffs this year. In terms of goals for per game, we were the best offensive team in the league. 3.85 goals per game, so 316, just above Montreal. But us and Montreal were the elitist offense, because you could see that big drop-off between second and third. So we were definitely the best teams in the NHL in that sense as well, not just based on the point totals. Goals against per game wise, we are the best defensive team. Yeah, we're going to be a first round exit. When you're the first best team in the league, you have the best offense, you have the best defense, I do not feel safe at all. We also had the fourth best power play, and it was above 20%. And our penalty kill was also the fourth best, so we're top 5 in everything. Yeah, I feel like we're going to be a first round exit. We also had the second most shorthanded goals in the league. 28, 12, and 1 on home ice. 39 and 2 on the road. What a year for this team. 9-0 and 1 in our last 10 games. Yeah, we're definitely a first round exit, guys. Hate to break it to you, but more than likely, watch, we're going to be a first round exit. If we win a Stanley Cup on top of this, I'll be super happy. But if we're a first round exit, I am going to be kind of mad because we're going to likely lose McCarr, like I said, and Lafreniere this coming off season. We're going to trade away Kavanaugh. So there's a bit of change coming, but let's take a look at those player stats, see who did what for this team. So we'll start off with our centers. Asher Vance, of course, 96, 56 goals and a plus 34. 16 game-winning goals. That's a lot. That is a lot of game-winning goals. Here's a look at his career now. 708 points. He's already at 439 career goals. Yeah, this guy is definitely going to be my best goal scorer of all time. He's already got 82 game-winning goals, so he's technically won an entire season worth of games. And he's only played, I think, like, how much years? 3, 6, 9 seasons? Yeah, 9 seasons in NHL. That's crazy. And he only has 2 more years left on his contract. And then we're going to be paying this guy a lot of money, but it's going to be worth it. Reefers, 87 points and a plus 32. Love that. 19 power play points, only 5 power play goals, 1 game-winning goal only, but Vance stole a lot of them, so there you go on Reefers. He's been pretty solid since we brought him in, getting better every year. Nazar, 85 points, so yeah, that top line, phenomenal numbers, love that. Cox, 56 points, not bad. Considering this guy didn't really get a lot of power play time, I'd like that. I like that, actually. He might come back as a second/third line center in the offseason, but he is pending UFA, so hopefully he doesn't demand too much. Kabanov, 43 points, not bad. Not too bad. Improving on last season, but last season he didn't even spend the entire time in the NHL. 68 points in his career now. Ziska, 36 points and a plus 26. That fourth line was great. He did get some power play time apparently too, but less points than last year, but a better plus minus. He's been a really solid player. How's those face-off numbers? Only 2 short-handed points this year. Face-offs are looking pretty good. He's turning out to be a pretty solid two-way forward for the bottom 6 right now. He's only 21 as well though, so he might be a third liner next season. Yeah, he's actually listed as a third line checking forward, so he'll probably get to our third line next year. That's if I don't bring back Cox. Let me take a look at those face-off numbers from these guys, though. Let's see, 55% from Reefers. Cox was 57%, and Ziska was 51%. The only bad one was Kabanov, who was a 47%, but not too bad from the guys that actually win face-offs. Left wing-wise, Lafreniere, 66 points. Not bad. Not bad at all. He is probably going to be declining, and like I said, I don't think I'm going to be bringing him back, but that's not too bad. 8 game-winning goals as well. Love that from Laffy. 45 points from Bales, and he barely got any power play time. Only 1 power play point, 3 short-handed points. Yeah, Bales is pretty solid. I wanted him on the third line, but he got more fourth line ice time this year. But still, I really like Bales, considering he's only signed to 2.4 for the next 5 years. He's a very underrated piece of this team. He's not going to develop much more since he's already 25, which is kind of crazy. But Yeah, he's been a pretty solid player. Don't mind him at all. Patterson, 15 goals and 26 points and plus 20. I like that. Might be up to the third line next season. I don't know if he's going to develop a lot because he's 22 and 80 overall only. But if he gets into our top 6, he should be able to score goals with that shot. Donald Lill, only 26 points. He is a pending UFA as well. I don't know about Donald Lill if he's going to come back this offseason. Just not as good as he was a few years ago. Yeah, he might be one of these guys that have to leave. I mean, that's not with any power play time, though, so that's not terrible. But he needs power play time to probably be successful. Packers Lottie, 10 points in 15 games as a depth option. Fantastic. Might be a regular NHLer next year. Recchi hit 68 points this year. Okay. So a breakout year from Recchi. He's up to an 87 now. And he's still got 4 years left on his deal. He is 25 already. But that's a really good season from Recchi. His best offensive totals yet. His best plus minus. Any crazy shorthanded points? Only 2. Yeah, not too bad from Connor Recchi. Like that. Considering he was like a... What was he, a 5th rounder? 4th rounder. Corrado, 41 points. That's pretty solid as well. A lot of power play time. Yeah, Corrado is turning out to be a pretty solid player. I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. Considering we drafted him 20th overall, not too bad. And in the defensive core, how did they do? Cale Makar, 65 points and a plus 40. So yeah, his offense is definitely dipping, but plus 40. In the last 2 seasons, he's literally had the same point totals, and he's been a plus 99 over that span. So can't complain with Cale at all. But like this, I said, this is probably his last year here. Brunstrom, 52 points and a plus 35 is really good. He's been a pretty solid piece. Same point totals as well the last 2 years and over a plus 100 in the last 2 seasons as well. How much years does he have left? 2 more seasons, so he's pretty much on the same timeline as Vance, but he's very important probably to bring back, my guess. Len Morris, fantastic defensive numbers. 23 points plus 33. Niittymaki, 20 points this year and a plus 12. Good little breakout year for Niittymaki. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Lowry, 12 points and a plus 44. This guy is such a good DFD. I am glad I locked him up on that 5x5 because I feel like he's kind of an underrated defensive defenseman if he's playing in the top 4. Like at some stage he might need to go, but his plus minus is fantastic. Ovechkin, 7 points in 46 games plus 18. And then Kavanaugh, 6 points in 40 games plus 10. So Ovechkin's likely going to start the playoffs, but Kavanaugh's probably going to get dealt in the offseason. How about the goalies? We are the best defensive team in the league, which means we're already getting a Jennings. Are we going to get a Vezina winner? We might have a Vezina winner. Might. 49 wins, 17 losses, 2 OT losses, 9 shutouts from Easton Donald, a .919 save percentage, and a 2.39 goals against. Easton Donald might be the best elite goalie I've ever had in a regular season so far. His numbers have been pretty solid, at least the last 2 seasons. Wow. Is he a Vezina finalist? Last year, I think he was a finalist for the Vezina. Is he going to win one this year? And then, yeah, Rudy Pitton had a good record, but that save percentage and goals against on this type of team isn't great, so he was kind of not doing as well, but oh well. I have him locked up for 3 more seasons at only $2 million. He has a movable contract for sure. Let's take a look at stats around the league, because this is where it's going to be fun. Who led the entire league in points? Tim Stützle in Washington. Sylvain Parks up there as well in Montreal. Same with Lou Manlow, who's in Montreal. And Connor Bedard in Winnipeg. Matthews with 100 as well in Toronto. So not a lot of 100-point guys. Who is the best goal scorer? Asher Vance again. Let's go. I think that's his 3rd Richard. This guy might end up winning most Richards in my entire franchise mode history. He's now had how much? 50-goal seasons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 50-goal seasons. His lowest goal total was obviously his 1st season and his 2nd season, but after that, he's been a consistent, almost 50-goal scorer. Fantastic stuff from Vance. So he's going to win a Richard again, not a surprise. Best plus minus for fun. Sylvain Parks in Montreal. So yeah, Montreal's top line was fantastic of Caulfield, Manlow, and Parks. Most game-winning goals, Asher Vance by 5 of them. Damn. Most power play goals, Bedard with 18. Most power play points, Bedard with 39. Yeah, the Jets are still a threat. Most shorthanded goals, Jesper Boquist with 5. Vance had 4 shorthanded goals this year. I didn't even realize that. Asher Vance could do it all. He could play in every situation. Most short-handed points, Boquist and Lundestrom with 7. Both of them are on the same team, so they must be playing together. Let's take a look at Selke candidates. Vasilyev had... Actually, that's fights. That's the most fights, damn. I was going to say, that's a low amount of takeaways. Most fights was Vasilyev, if you guys wanted a fun stat. Most takeaways, Timo Ruutu, probably the son of Tuomo Ruutu. But the most takeaways in a good face-off number... Matthews maybe would be up there, Turcotte, but those aren't really crazy face-off numbers. Fawcett at a 54%. Burnett's not a face-off man. Oh, 55.7. Zach Benson maybe might be the favorite for the Selke. Barkov might be actually up there as well. But if they go off face-off numbers, I don't know how much... Actually, ooh, Reefers was 55.2, so he's not going to win it, but that will be close. Cox could be up there, but I don't know how much takeaways he had. Stuart Outlaw might be up there as well. Hard to tell on who's going to be the Selke winner this year. Let's take a look at the best defenseman. That's going to be Bo Byram with 76 points in Colorado, followed by Liljegren with 73 points and a plus 38. So they might give it to Liljegren because of that. Sider's also up there. Brant Clark, Kale for us. Not bad. Best goaltender for wins is Easton Donald. Not a surprise. Most shutouts. Easton Donald. Most save percentage. Easton Donald. Best goals against. Easton Donald. You're unanimous Vezina winner. By far. His goals against is much better than Swayman's. His save percentage is much better than Swayman's. His wins are more higher than Swayman's. His shutouts are more higher than Swayman's. And he played also one less game than Swayman. So Easton Donald is going to win a Vezina, which means we have a Vezina winner for the first time, I think, in the series. I know Comesso won one, I think, in Winnipeg, but it was not with us. So Easton Donald, congratulations, man. This guy's actually turning out to be a solid goaltender, which I'm kind of scared because he's going to want a lot of money this offseason. But do we sign him to that money is the question. I'll leave that to you guys, though, but I don't know if we should be risking that. Best rookie this year... Laurent St. Louis in Toronto, but he's already 25. It might be Korolev in Montreal, but he's already 24 as well. They might give it to Boys because of the plus-minus, but he had one less point than Korolev. I don't know who's going to win it, to be honest, out of the bunch. A lot of old rookies this year, though. 25 and 23, and, like... Yeah, there's no, like, 18-year-olds. It's all, like, 21 and above. Just a bit weird. Any rookie goalies that could potentially win it this year? Out of curiosity... probably not. Yeah, the save percentages and goals against on these goalies aren't that great, so probably not. Okay, so there was that. Let's see who we're facing in the first round of the playoffs, and the team that's more likely going to knock us out, because I honestly don't think we're going to win. If we had a Vezina Trophy winning goaltender and a Richard winner, and we had that great of a season altogether, I don't think we have a chance. Yeah, we're going to get cheesed somehow. We'll just watch, because we're playing Colorado, so Kale's old team. They went 40, 34, and 8 in the regular season. They're 1-8-1 in their last 10 games going into the playoffs. We're 9-0-1. We won 18 more games. Something tells me we're going to get cheesed. If we do not win this, I am going to be kind of mad at this game, to be honest. But I think there's a good chance we end up losing somehow. Let's take a look at what this Colorado team looks like without Kale. They obviously have Bo Byram, who just won the Norris, maybe. So we know they have some good defenders. And they actually have an okay team, but a lot of depth in a sense, too. They're not the worst offensive core, but definitely not the best. First line, Jacob Gogolev, top 6 potential guy, only 82. Alex Newhook's still there, and Philip Tomasino. So these two are really solid. Second line, Noel Gunler, Logan Stankoven, and Jamal Howes. We did have Stankoven a few years ago, right? Yeah, we did. I thought so, as like a depth option. Knew I recognized his name. Jesper Boquist is there, Juha Varakis, and Jeremy Brooks. In a fourth line of Semyon Arguchintsev, or SDA if you want to say. Merrick Antons, who was with us last season, I think it was. And I let him go because I didn't qualify him. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was last season. He played in the AHL the entire year. I didn't qualify him because I didn't think we needed him. And now he's going to be paying us and probably find a way to beat us. Isaac Lundestrom on that fourth line as well. Yeah, their forward core definitely has a lack of depth, but Howes, Gogolev, Newhook, and Tomasino are all pretty solid. Gunler, kind of solid as well. Stankoven, Boquist, but like when you get to the rest of these guys, they're all like fourth liners. So it's a bit of a weird forward core. Defensively, they have a good top two, Bo Byram and Timo Jokela, who's only 21. He's got medium elite potential. Was the 25th overall pick only 4 years ago. Joakim Kapanen, as well as Mats Johansson on the second pairing. Wasn't this guy in Calgary at one point? No. I thought I saw him in Calgary at one point. They also have Raleigh and Shea Theodore still playing at 38. So yeah, this team definitely lacks depth. Like, they have some good pieces, but they lack depth. And goalie-wise, they have Cristiano Agon and Akira Schmid as their backup. Goaltending is not too bad. And then depth-wise, Gilbert Savard, Nate Schnarr, and Scott Reedy. Yeah, this team lacks depth. That's the main thing, but they do have good pieces, so that's a little bit scary. But I feel like we should obviously easily be able to win this, but I feel like the game could easily cheese me out of it as well. Final thing, let's take a look at how they did during the regular season compared to us. We know that they had a really rough record near the end of the season, but they still made the playoffs, which is kind of crazy. This is the playoff tree, just in case you guys want to see this as well. Winnipeg's playing Minnesota. LA's playing Edmonton, Vancouver, and San Jose. East, you got Philly, Carolina, New Jersey, Boston, Toronto, and Detroit. Interesting. And Montreal and Pittsburgh. But let's take a comparison during the regular season. See what they did good at. We didn't. We did good in everything, so I feel like they're probably not better than us in almost everything. So 3.34 goals per game. Obviously, we did much better. They were not that good defensively. We were better on power play, and yeah, we're pretty much better in everything. Their penalty kill was not terrible. 3% worse than us. They scored 11 shorthanded goals as well. They were really good on home ice, but they were really bad on the road. Yeah, I feel because they were not good in their last 10 games that they're all of a sudden going to just somehow beat us in like 4 games, and we're going to go out in the first round, but who knows. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to round 1 against the Colorado Avalanche as we look to continue what has been a great season so far, or maybe the game is just going to randomly cheese us out of a first round win. So guys, think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.